Hey, good morning. Here we are again. It's a Monday. Hope you had a really good weekend. Got some things done or not, depending on your situation. Sometimes it's good to do a little chill time where you just relax and let the rest of the world go by. But hey, whatever it is, it's always nice to just have a time to hang out, right? And just a little free time is awesome. So I hope yours was good. We got a lot of stuff done, some traveling this weekend, and so it was nice to do all of that. And here we are yet again, starting a new week, and they just keep rolling along, don't they? You can't stop them, so why try? Oh, goodness. Well, let me say good morning to our breakfast club. Look at you guys here. My goodness. Oh, we're jumping in here. Jane and Jackie and Ann and Joanne. Let's see. Susan, Norma Jean. Good to see you guys all here with me this morning. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, so we're moving into a new chapter. How about that? Luke chapter 12 is the next stop on our shared journey here through the life of Christ, the shared life with Him. How about that? And it's interesting this morning, as I was thinking about what this particular chapter deals with. There's just a lot here. I mean, this is just a period of time where, Jesus is sharing a lot. He's teaching and talking and there's just, phew, my goodness. And so sometimes it's hard when you look at it all and say, okay, so what's the emphasis, right? And I thought initially that I knew what it was for this morning, but in football, quarterbacks get to do they call an audible. And that's what Holy Spirit did. He called an audible. Basically, about 20 minutes ago, it's like, oh, so that's what we're talking about. So, so really what today's broadcast should be called is Be the Real Deal. All right, so I'm going to see if I can change the title, on the post, but that's really what I want to talk with you about. Be the real deal. And that comes out of these first few verses here in Luke chapter 12, where he writes, under these circumstances, after so many thousands of the multitude had gathered together that they were stepping on one another. Wow, can you just imagine that? I'm just that many people that were just so bunched together here, in this place in Jerusalem, right? So Jesus began saying to his disciples, first of all, so he's really now speaking to his 12. The other people are there, and if they happen to catch this, okay. But this was directed to his disciples. That's important, as we'll see in just a moment, right? He says, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. But there is nothing covered up that will not be revealed, and hidden that will not be known. Accordingly, whatever you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light, and what you have whispered in the inner rooms shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. Wow. My first thought, honestly, when I read this, was that's what we have today. Oh my gosh. How many people in our modern day society have had the embarrassment of things that they've posted in years past, because maybe they were in a different place, they were much more immature, and so just put some really stupid stuff out there, and people find it, when there's controversy or whatever's going on, and all of a sudden, these things from the past come back to haunt you. Wow. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've seen this happen over and over again for folks that, that today they are stridently protesting certain things, and you go back and find out that maybe not too long ago, they were actually in favor of what they're now protesting. The only reason they're protesting it is because, well, that's what's in vogue. That's what's, politically correct right now. And so, well, I have to, show myself to be approved by, the social, what is it? The social justice warrior crowd, right? These people that want to, who are really truly modern day Pharisees, because they want to dictate what you're allowed to think, what you're allowed to say, what you're allowed to believe. And if you don't toe their line, well, you're going to be in trouble. So all of this that we see today, and it's listen, we know it's in the church, all right? We know that in the church there are people who are engaging in this kind of activity. In other words, the leaven of the Pharisees. What is he talking about? Well, leaven is used in the Bible to illustrate a kind of influence. And there are, there are good influence, there are bad influence, right? Well, here, this leaven, which is like yeast, which is yeast, right? You know how that works with bread, with dough. You put the yeast in, it causes it to rise, it causes it to take on a wholly different character than what it had before you put the yeast in. And so Jesus uses leaven or yeast as a way to illustrate how subtle yet powerful this philosophy, this mindset, this way of living, how it can creep in and begin to, influence you to change in ways that aren't good. So what is he saying? He says that the leaven of the Pharisees is hypocrisy. So all that, he's talking about how the Pharisees were all about the show, okay? That was it. They were putting on a good show with what they said, with what they did, how they dressed. Everything about the Pharisees was all about putting on a good show. Never let them see you sweat. Never let them see you cry. Whatever. They were all that's what defined them. And here Jesus is saying, you can try to cover up and hide the reality of your life, but at some point it's going to come out. It's impossible for us as humans to completely prevent things that we did wrong or that were, inappropriate, in years past. At some point, that could very well be brought into the light, as he's saying. So he's saying, don't do that. Don't live a life where you present yourself one way and you're hiding the reality of your life. What's really going on. You're just you don't want people to know. You don't want people getting all up in your business, as they say on the street. Okay? And so, you live a life trying to maintain this facade, this mask, right? That how you present yourself to people. And listen, we all do it. This isn't something that is like, oh really, people do that? Come on. Even when it comes down to greeting one another, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm too blessed to be stressed. You liar. Right? We will put on that happy face and that strong outward appearance that we're doing good, whatever, and we're falling apart. I mean, this is all too familiar, right? We understand what Jesus is talking about here. And so he's telling his disciples, this is not the kind of lifestyle that we were designed to live. I mean, when I think about the amount of emotional and mental energy that is necessary to keep up appearances, I mean, it's no wonder that people have nervous breakdowns and go through all this sort of stuff, because they're trying to continue or continually maintain this facade, this mask of perfection, or everything is just, great, when it really isn't. I mean, it's an amazing thing. So what is really the way it's supposed to be? What is it that Jesus is saying to us here? No, I didn't create you to walk around making believe that your life is perfect when it's not. He created us to be real, okay? He created us to live authentic lives. Now, authenticity, that's not something that I really hear a lot of in terms of people talking about it, teaching it, even modeling it, and I understand that. We as humans are very hesitant to open up our hearts, our lives, right? Because we've experienced some negatives concerning that in the past. When you were honest and open about something and you got shot down, you got mocked, you were put on blast by somebody who had no business spreading your stuff, but they did that. And so it creates this fear that, well, okay, man, I'm building a wall and ain't nobody getting in, and that's what we learn to do. And unfortunately, in creating that kind of a facade, of that kind of a lifestyle, we are literally cutting ourselves off from resources that the Lord has for us to help us deal with the issues in our life. And so having the freedom and the understanding, right, to be authentic in who I am, that's huge. Most people find it very difficult, again, because of our past experiences. When Jesus came and modeled real life, right, with his disciples, I mean, let's think about his authenticity, right? Well, what do you mean, Jesus, everything was perfect? Yeah, no. Not when it came to what he was facing in terms of crucifixion, sweating drops of blood, coming back to his now sleeping disciples and saying, guys, you couldn't even pray with me for 1 hour. There were times when he really showed what he was going through. And so we have that same capacity to be authentic with people if we so choose. And again, I'm not suggesting that it's an easy thing. It's something that we have to look at and overcome. But the benefits to doing that, allowing the real me to be visible, at least with some people. I'm not suggesting that, we've got to put all our stuff out there to the world. No, that's not wise either. But finding some core group of people with whom you can be authentic, with whom you can share what you're struggling with, what life is like for you, and being able to talk about that, right? Pray for one another in those situations. That's a resource that God absolutely has for every single one of us. We were never meant to do life in isolation, okay? It was never meant to be that way. That's why, the Bible says that we become part of a body. We become part of a family. We are, to be in these kind of relationships where we can be authentic and real, right? Authenticity is all about being honest, transparent, free to be yourself, to feel safe, right? To experience empathy, where people get you and where you get the people that you're there with, right? To be accepted for who you really are. This is what authenticity is all about. And unlike the Pharisees, who basically created a persona, they were basically on stage 24/7, never, revealing any inner issues, struggles, problems that they were having, because that would, diminish their appearance to the world around them. That's not the life that we were created to live. Let me talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. Right now, once again, just reminding you that Breakfast with Jesus is sponsored by Jesus Book and Gift. Route 1 South in Island, open Monday, actually every day, but Monday through Saturday from 10 to 9, Sunday from noon to 5. Please go check them out. They have so much. It's amazing. It's the biggest Christian bookstore in New Jersey, and anything you might need, from books to music to study materials, supplies for church and Sunday school, home decor, they've got it. And if they don't, they'll get it for you. All right, say hi to my good buddy Joe Catalano when you're there, and let him know that you heard about Jesus Book and Gift here on Breakfast with Jesus. All right, so having this ability to be real, right? We see this modeled for us in the birth of the church, right? In Acts chapter 2 and 3 and 4, where they're all now hanging out. They're doing stuff together, eating meals together, sharing their worldly goods with those that have need, right? Well, how would they know that there was a need unless people were being authentic and sharing and saying, hey, I'm really struggling right now. Please pray for me. And not only did they pray, but they say, oh, here, hey, let me give you this. I can help you with something, material, as opposed, not opposed to, but in addition to praying for you, right? So all this relational stuff that was going on, that's the norm. Okay, what we see modeled for us in those first few chapters of the book of Acts, that is life. Okay, and that's the life that we were created to live. So how do we start to do this? Well, we've got to recognize that there is a progression that takes place. Authenticity is not obviously something that you're going to jump into because of your bad experiences with people. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is ask the Lord, who can I trust? Who are the ones that you have for me, with whom I can be authentic, with whom I can be real, that I can let my guard down and share what's really going on in my life, knowing that they're not going to judge me or condemn me, or put my stuff on blast in some way, but they're going to come and surround me, and be the support that I need in my life. He absolutely has that for you. So ask him, Lord, please show me. And even if it starts with just one person, well, there you go. That's a start, right? So let's say that, that you have at least that one person that you can begin a process of growth toward authenticity. Well, the typical stage that we find ourselves in initially is where we're just really hesitant. And most times we won't be authentic unless we see someone else do it first. Okay. And since that's an issue with so many people, you got to realize that it's probably not going to happen that way. You're probably not going to find, a situation where others are modeling authenticity first, so that you realize that, oh, wow, these people, they get it. They understand that they got to be real, right? So So you're going to have to make that leap of faith at some point and be the initiator, right? That's the next phase in growth toward authenticity, is realizing, okay, well, it doesn't seem like people are really doing this, but I believe I can trust them. So I'm going to be the initiator here. I'm going to start the process. I'm going to catalyze authenticity by starting to share what I'm going through, what I'm experiencing, and asking for some help, some support, some prayer, whatever it might be. And so that's kind of where you move towards, as you understand that there's a real need for this kind of real relationship. And we have to realize that this is a posture of humility, right? It's our pride that wants to keep that facade up, because we can't bear to have people realize, that there's actually things that I'm struggling with, that, I'm not perfect. And, it's crazy. So, acknowledging that we have this pride issue that keeps us from being real, and repenting of that, saying, Lord, okay, I agree with you. That I'm basically, expressing a pride here that's preventing me from being honest and open and transparent and all of that. And so, repent. Just say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I agree with you. Put that aside. I put on humility, and I'm going to take that leap of faith and begin to share with people that you're showing me are trustworthy. Okay, that's the next phase. The first phase is, I'm not doing this unless I see somebody else do it first. Second phase is, okay, I have to do this, and so I'm going to do it whether or not the other person or other people aren't doing it, right? Now, the third phase is, once you have become established in authentic relationships in your life, then you get to intentionally become a catalyst for someone else who is perhaps in that phase one, where they are terrified of being authentic because they've been so abused by others in the past whenever they tried that they're now locked up tight, right? But it would take your authenticity, your willingness to be real and open and transparent with them about your own life and struggles, that is going to bring them the realization that, oh, wow, this person is struggling with that. This person worries about these kinds of things and is tempted in these areas. Right? We're all human. We're all dealing with the same stuff. But catalyzing that for someone else is what a privilege, to be able to present yourself, in that way that, I get up in the morning and I put my pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. It's like this is what the Lord wants for us to do for one another, is to be real, to be transparent, vulnerable. It's a vulnerability issue. And I understand that when we've been hurt, it's very difficult to reopen that area of life and be willing to be vulnerable again. And all I can say is that, the Lord wants to bring healing to you in that area, or areas wherever you have, been hurt because you were vulnerable at some point. It doesn't mean that we should stop wanting to be vulnerable or trying to be vulnerable. It means let's get healed. Let's get healed of those scars, of those wounds that we endured, so that we can be real, so that we can become people who are the real deal. Most folks who aren't churchgoers, they look at Christians from the outside in. Their opinion of Christians is that they're hypocrites. Why? Because they hear the things that are being said and preached by Christians, by church, and they know people who are Christians, and they're doing things that don't line up with what is spoken, with what is said. So there's all this stuff, this hypocrisy that Jesus is putting his finger on here, that is the hallmark of the Pharisees. And he's saying, beware. Beware of that leaven, of that influence that would make you simply want to put on a false front so that you protect yourself, so that you present, to the world an appearance that is absolutely not real. Okay? Even those who aren't Christians appreciate the fact that we can share with them our own struggles, that we can say, I don't have this all figured out yet, but, but God, having God in our life makes it 100% different, right? But still being able to tell people, yeah, you know what, I still deal with this, I still struggle with that, and I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm grateful that God helps me get through these things. That is priceless. The ability to be real with people and not make it seem like you got it all figured out when you don't. That's what Jesus is talking about here. So again, I'm going to have to change the title of this one is, be the real deal, because that's really what he's talking about here, that we can do this, and we can do it for one another, and we can also do it for the world, for those that don't know the Lord yet. And I think it's just a powerful, powerful thing. So I encourage you in that. If you need any help with, getting freed up from stuff that's been done to you and you're not sure where to go, please reach out, send me an email, send me a Facebook message. I would love to hear from you, and I can, I'm sure, point you in a direction where you can get some help to overcome those hurts, because that's exactly what Papa wants for you. All right. So thanks to all of you who are sharing my videos with people. I'm so grateful that this is getting out to more and more folks. Not because I'm anything, but because this is the Word of God, and it's very powerful, and it does set us free. The truth always makes us free. So let me say good morning to the rest of this amazing breakfast club. Oh my goodness, let's see, we're going to scroll all the way back up here. Lord have mercy, look at all you guys. Let's see, we've got Amanda, Allison, Maria, Marcos, Shalom, Linda, Candy, Patty, and Carrie. Oh my gosh. Andrew, Kevin. Yeah, definitely. Reliable core, that's for sure. Patrick, aloha, Kathy. Wow, thank you, Kathy. That's an honor. Joyce, let's see. Isabel, Franny, good morning. Yeah, but God, exactly. Roger, how are you, buddy? There we go. Good to see you guys. Thank you again. Appreciate having you along, and look forward to doing it again tomorrow. We'll see whether he calls another audible. All right, but let's go out there and let's be real. Let's let his presence and his power shine forth. Right, we're gonna bless somebody today, because there's somebody in your path coming your way today that you'll get a chance to bless in a big way. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much.